So you've watched a few of my recent videos and now you believe that you are insulin resistant, but you're ready to reverse it. What do you do? In today's video, I am sharing the 5 strategies to implement today to reverse your insulin resistance as quickly as possible. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Andrea, a holistic nutritionist helping women restore their metabolic flexibility through reversing insulin resistance, rebalancing gut health, and restoring detox pathways. Today, we're taking a deeper dive into exactly how to reverse insulin resistance. If you haven't yet watched my other videos on how to know if you have metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance, be sure to check those out. 88% of the population has at least one marker of metabolic syndrome, and estimates are that about half of the population have insulin resistance, though it's actually probably much higher than that, as a large portion of those people are undiagnosed. So let's dive in. Number 1, insulin resistance is a product of chronically elevated glucose levels, and the best way to lower insulin levels is to reduce the glucose levels. Reducing or eliminating carbohydrates, specifically simple carbs and sugars, and the highest glycemic foods will lower your glucose levels the most. Now, carbs are not all created equal. Grains are metabolized in a completely different way than whole fruits and vegetables. And low glycemic vegetables, like leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables, are metabolized in completely different ways than starchy vegetables like potatoes. So we want you to choose whole natural products over anything that's been processed or altered, and opt for more low glycemic foods and non-starchy plants. Number 2, avoid industrial seed oils. Now, that sounds like something you probably don't eat, right? Well, you'd be wrong, but you may not even know it. These oils are commonly referred to as vegetable oils, and we've been told to eat them because they're heart healthy. But these oils, canola, corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, rice bran, grapeseed, and anything that says refined on it, are very easily oxidized with light, mechanical stress, and heat. The mere process of removing these oils from their original plant involves mechanical stress, heat, and chemicals a lot of the time, which means that they also get a lot of light exposure throughout that process. That means they're already oxidized in the process of just making the oil. And then they're packaged in clear plastic bottles and shipped all over the world, where they get even more heat and more light exposure. So now, even if you're not buying these oils and adding them to your meals, you are eating them without knowing it. These are in nearly every pre-made product on the market, and most restaurants, even fancy, expensive restaurants, are using these in all of their cooking, their sauces, and their dressings. Now, the reason this is relevant to insulin resistance is that what we eat literally becomes our cells, tissues, hormones, and organs. These fats alter the cellular membrane on all of our cells, and not in a good way. This changes the capacity of the cells to properly receive nutrients and to utilize energy. If your cells can't properly receive insulin, insulin can't do its job of allowing glucose into the cell and then telling the cell what to do with it. This leads to even higher blood glucose levels, which causes even more insulin to be released. We've only made it to step 2. How are you feeling? Comment below with any ahas that you've had so far. Number 3, eat less often. Chronically elevated insulin leads to insulin resistance. We've established that. So if you're eating all day long, the insulin levels never have an opportunity to come back down to baseline. So the common advice of eating small meals every few hours, or eating 3 meals plus 2 to 3 snacks per day, is actually contributing to insulin resistance. What we want is to have smaller insulin spikes by eating less high glycemic foods and to have fewer spikes in general, so that we spend more time each day with low insulin levels and far less time with high insulin levels. Number 4 is intermittent fasting. This goes along with eating less often. By allowing more time for your body to be in a fasted state, this can help the body repair damaged cells, to reduce stored glycogen, which is the storage form of glucose, and can even help the body adapt to burning more body fat for fuel. This is the key to metabolic flexibility, being able to efficiently and effectively switch from burning glucose after a meal to burning fat when there's no food being provided. And number 5 is reduce toxin exposure. Now, this is a big one, and researchers are learning more and more every day. Toxins are stored in our body fat when they come into the body, which is a survival mechanism to protect us from those toxins. However, this makes the body fat somewhat toxic, and then the body doesn't want to burn that body fat, because when you burn the body fat, those toxins get released into the bloodstream to do harm. By reducing your toxin exposure, you give your body the opportunity to release some toxins without causing incredible toxicity all at once. So what does this have to do with insulin resistance? If you're in a state of toxicity where your body doesn't want to release fat for fear of releasing toxins, you can't access that stored fuel, which means you have to eat more often for energy. And we just established in steps 3 and 4 that eating more often contributes to insulin resistance. So how do you reduce your toxin exposure? Well, obvious things like not smoking, for one, but also things like choosing organic foods when you can, taking a really good look at your personal care products like your cosmetics, shampoos and conditioners, other hair care products, nail polishes, as well as your home care products like cleaning products, your cookware, and even your yard care products. So pesticides, herbicides, all of those kinds of things are highly toxic. The vast majority of what's on the market are incredibly toxic. Stop using any products that you don't absolutely need to use, and in products that you do need to use, opt for cleaner options in any way that you can. Another source of toxins is your water. If you are drinking water from plastic water bottles, you are drinking toxic chemicals, both from the plastics and the manufacturing process of the bottling, but also from the chemicals that are being added to the water. Tap water isn't any better. It's also loaded with fluoride and chlorine and many industrial chemicals that don't get filtered out in the municipal water supply. So when possible, opt for filtered water that has had these toxins removed or at least reduced. But beware that filtered water loses most of its minerals, so you'll want to add back in minerals as they are essential for life and health. All right, we made it through all 5 strategies to reverse insulin resistance as quickly as possible by dealing with the root cause, not simply by masking symptoms. If you have any questions, drop them below and I will take care of you.